let us start. I've got a subject today which we must consider together, isn't it? The subject I have today is we have to study and analyze whether the gathering process will really occur. The gathering process.
Amen.
Gathering of the people to the kingdom. Is the kingdom really going to be established on earth? And the gathering of the people into this kingdom. Yeah? Now, for us to start this lesson, let's go to our topic on KC. Just go to KC 124, second paragraph.
KC 124.
Yes.
Paragraph 2.
Mm-hmm.
The message of the angel following the third is now to be given to all parts of the world.
Who is saying that? Sister White is actually proving there is a message following hers.
Yes.
So, meaning, when she died, she had not heard that message. No. So, do not be foolish and start comparing the message coming after her with her. So, it means when you Google Sister White's message, you will not find that message. Because she's talking of a messenger coming after her. Now, she is saying, the message of the angel following the third. We know about third message. I saw somebody say, I've got only 3 angels' message. But listen, Sister White says there is a message following hers, meaning it's the fourth. Stuck there, isn't it? And you want to be stuck on the third, that's fine, follow suit, isn't it? But those who will march on to the next one after the third angel's message, after Sister White's message, will do a good thing. Amen. This is how we say God's messengers, God's messages are progressive. You can't expect God to be quiet because 1915 Sister White died. No. She introduced us to the next message, isn't it? Yes. This is what we get here when she is saying, thus, the message of the angel following the third is now to be given. Who is she instructing? The next one, right? So let's read that one. Mm-hmm.
The message of the angel following the third is now to be given to all parts of the world. It is to be the harvest message.
Right.
And the whole earth will be lighted with the glory of God.
As we saw in Revelation 14. We saw after the third angel's message in verse 9. We saw in verse 14, what did we see? Yeah?
Verse 9. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast and his image, and receive
that was
his
Sister
mark.
White's message, isn't it?
Yes.
Let's go to verse 14.
Verse 14.
Yeah?
And I looked, and behold, a white cloud.
Right.
And upon the cloud one sat like unto the Son of Man,
Right?
having on his head
Uh-huh.
a golden crown,
Right.
and in his hand a sharp sickle.
This is a sickle you use for harvest.
Yes.
Now, Sister White is telling us that the message following hers is a harvest message. Do you understand now? And then he says, thus, this message now should be given to the people.
Yeah.
Whether people are stuck with the third, let's just move on
Yes.
with the next one, isn't it? Because people have ever been stuck, isn't it? When their reformer dies, they are stuck. They don't want to move on. But we will move on with the next message after Sister White, isn't it? Thus, the message of the angel following the third is now to be given to all parts of the world. How do they go to all parts of the world? The internet does it. It's very simple. Social media is the one which is spreading it, isn't it? Yeah, because Christ is about to come. So God has given us a quick message, isn't it? It will go to all parts of the world. Right? And what?
It is to be the harvest message.
And this message, mind you, is the harvest message. Yeah? So that's why I say today we want to talk about how God is going to harvest. Yeah? How God is going to, and I'm saying he's going to collect people into the kingdom. Isn't it? So how is he going to do that? This is our topic today. Finish the paragraph.
It is to be the harvest message.
Right?
And the whole earth will be lighted with the glory of God.
Right?
The Lord has this one more call of mercy to the world. But the perversity of man diverts the work from its true bearing.
Right.
And the light is to struggle amid the darkness of man, who
And
feel
what is
themselves
right?
competent
Right?
to do a work which God has not appointed them to do.
While this message is going on, there are men who are blocking it. Do you understand? That's what I have heard. The Lord has this one more call of mercy to the world. But the perversity of men diverts the work. There are men who are working right now who are not working, who are not passing on this harvest message. And what are they passing on? Something else. They are blocking this message. And God has said, this message, has to struggle, amid the darkness of men who feel themselves competent to do a work which God has not appointed them to do. So, mind you, while this message is going on, there are people who are also spreading something God has not given them. So I'm saying, let's go on with the harvest message. Amen. This is the message which will collect all the people to the kingdom. Amen. How are they going to be harvested? We have to check in the Bible and see and read all these prophecies and understand them before that time comes. Amen. Yeah? Right. Let's start. Is the kingdom really going to be established in Jerusalem? Huh? Is it true? Yes. Is Christ coming to establish the kingdom? Yes. Is somebody going to be ruling in the kingdom while the earth is still moving on? Not at the end. While the earth is still there. Now let's go to Genesis. Genesis 49, verse 10.
Verse 10.
Yeah?
The scepter
shall
not depart from Judah,
Hey.
nor a lawgiver
What is
from
a
between
What
his-
is a scepter? It's a ruler. You see, when we say the kingdom is going to be there, that's what we mean. Yes. And the verse says, the scepter will not depart. Where? It's the Bible. Meaning, when they were ruling, we know King David was ruling. Where from? Is it the same place? Yes. Right? There was a metropolitan city where they were ruling from. Ruling the whole world, isn't it? And then here we have been given that the lawgiver won't depart from there. Yes. Until when? Until who is Shiloh? Who is Shiloh? Who is Shiloh? It's Christ. Until Shiloh comes. Until Christ comes. When he comes, where do we expect him to go? Where the scepter should not depart from. Until he comes. Who's what? Whose right is it? It is his right. This is a lovely verse, isn't it? Yes. Now, knowing that fact, should we really know that fact? Yeah. So the prophets, the prophets, do you know in the whole of the Bible, prophets, this is Genesis. Who is this prophet? Moses. What does he say? The scepter shall not depart from Judah. What is he talking about? He is talking about the kingdom, isn't it? That is continuously going to rule from that same place. Yes. You understand? So all the prophets, what they were not talking about any other time. They were talking about that same time when the kingdom is going to be established, when the scepter will be with Shiloh. Huh? Huh? Now, I want to study these prophets. They were not talking about anything else. They were talking about that day of the kingdom. Go to Jeremiah. Jeremiah chapter 31, verse 6 to 8.
Verse 6. For there shall be a day.
Listen to this prophet. I mean, I say these prophets should be telling us about one thing. And until Christ, the big prophet, came, we want to know what he also said, isn't it? Now, this prophet, Jeremiah, what is it?
For there shall be a day that the watchmen upon the Mount Ephraim shall cry, Arise ye, and let us go up to Zion, unto the Lord our God. For thus says the Lord, sing with gladness for Jacob,
right?
And shout among the chief of the nations. Publish ye, praise ye, and say, O Lord, save thy people, the remnant of Israel. Behold, I will bring them from the north country.
Listen, he is talking about one thing. Sing ye, for that day is coming. I will bring people from where? In the north. Yeah? You understand? Who was Ephraim? The son of Joseph, isn't it? Sometimes the 10 tribes are called Ephraim. They are called Joseph. You understand? And do you know that they were incorporated into the 12 tribes of Israel?
Yes.
Now, the Ephraimites, when they chose rulers, they chose from the Ephraimites.
Yes.
Yeah? So the 10 tribes are full of rulers. You understand? So here he's saying, finish that verse.
Behold, I'll bring them from the north country,
Right?
and gather them from the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame.
And who is going to come when in the gathering process? The blind, the lame, and who?
The woman with child, and her that travaileth with child together. A great company shall return thither.
There will be a great company going back to the kingdom.
Amen.
I mean, we want to study from the prophets. The whole Bible, that's what the prophets wrote, isn't it? Now, it's saying, we have seen Jeremiah talking about the kingdom, the gathering process. They will come from where? Let's go to Jeremiah 23, the same Jeremiah again. 23, verse 5. They are talking about the gathering process. Yeah?
Verse 5.
Verse 5.
Behold, the days come.
It's also talking about the same day. Behold, the days come. Right?
Saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch, and a king
Listen,
shall reign and prosper.
What is he going to... We say the metropolitan is where the scepter shall not depart. And we knew it's David who was ruling from that metropolitan place. You understand? Where Shiloh shall come. Now here, behold, the days will come. They were not there in the time of Jeremiah. But he was prophesying a day which was going to come. And what?
Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will raise unto David a righteous branch,
Right?
and a king shall reign and prosper, and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
And we have seen what is going to be raised. Unto who? What? We saw that the name branch in Zechariah chapter 6 verse 12. The name branch belongs to who? It's a divine name, isn't it? For Christ, isn't it? Now is raised unto. So we have seen Christ will be ruling as branch. And who else? Someone in the spirit of David. Someone will be ruling in the spirit of David. We saw someone called Elijah, who somebody is raised as Elijah in the spirit of Elijah the Tishbite. Now we have someone raised who is got a spirit of David. when ruling, that person will be David. You understand? Do you know when Christ came in the first time? When Mary was pregnant. Mary was pregnant.
Yes.
Before she knew her husband, Joseph.
Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
And Mary was told that that baby is Christ. Call him Emmanuel. Yeah? You understand? But we are told that Christ came in the lineage of David. Is it?
Yes.
So, if Christ came in the lineage of David, and Christ did not come from Joseph, who then was in the lineage of David?
Yes.
So Mary was the prophet of the day. And who was Mary at that time? David. Huh?
Amen.
Because Christ came in the lineage of David. And the only David who he would have come from is Mary. He did not come in the lineage of Joseph. So who was David in that day? Mary. Now we will have someone coming from the lineage of David. Do you understand? Whether male or female, but that is the David of the day. When Christ comes, you will find that person ruling. Why ruling? Why ruling? Because God raised Elijah, isn't it? And that Elijah was raised to pass on the message of the statutes and judgments in preparatory to the kingdom. Huh?
Yes.
And that person also was coming from the scepter shall not depart upon right. Do you understand?
Yes.
Because when the scepter should not depart, there should be somebody in it all the time.
Yes. Amen.
That's what we had been told, that it won't depart. So it means in each period there was someone in that lineage. And in each period, we saw in the period Christ came, it was with Mary. And when Christ comes, it will be with somebody. But Christ comes to that person who is a David and becomes a righteous branch raised unto David.
Amen.
Right?
Good news is actually saying the person should be a descendant of David.
Read it from that. Good news. What verse is that?
Verse 10.
Verse 10.
Genesis
Okay.
49, verse 10.
Okay, let's read from this side.
Judah will hold the royal scepter.
Listen, there is a royal scepter, yeah?
And his descendants will always rule.
Whose descendants will always rule. So in each generation, there is a ruler in that lineage. And when Christ comes, we'll find that person in that lineage who is passing on the meat in due season. And this person is called David.
Amen.
In other contexts, the person is called Elijah. Huh?
Yes.
But they will always. So now, when we understand Jeremiah 23, read it properly so we can. Right?
Say the Lord,
Eh.
that I'll raise unto David
Right.
a righteous branch.
Now, what happens is God is speaking through Jeremiah. Behold, the days come when I will raise unto David. Now you know who David is then. Right? David is a person, isn't it? But who is being raised? A righteous branch. Who is what? Christ coming to rule with David.
Amen.
Huh? And what happened?
And a king shall reign and prosper,
And that one is a king and reigning and prospering. Right?
and shall execute judgment and justice in the earth.
Right?
In his days,
In his days.
Judah shall be saved,
Right.
and Israel shall dwell safely. And this is the name whereby he shall be called,
Right?
the Lord our righteousness.
Right. So we see when Christ comes, he finds somebody in the lineage of David. For the scepter shall not depart upon Judah. Yeah? I hope you understand this. I hope you understand this study. It will get us somewhere, isn't it? So that we know what we are. When you hear people ready to hop in the cloud to go to heaven, they want to bypass all this. They want to bypass the kingdom. You cannot bypass. These are interesting prophecies. Yes. We have to dwell on these prophecies and know and get ready for this. For this shall happen, whether you like it or not. This is why we are studying, to see whether is it true it's going to happen. Yeah? All right. Let's hear from the prophet himself. The bigger prophet. Who is that one? Huh? Huh? You don't know the bigger prophet? It's Christ. Christ himself. Yeah, Matthew 13. What did he say? All he was preaching when he came on earth, he was only preaching about the kingdom. There's nothing he was talking about. They will do and kill him and whatever, but he was preparing people for the kingdom. Amen. Now let's go to Matthew 13. Okay, start with that one. Verse 10. It's another one which is talking about what? Mm-hmm. Okay, verse 10 first.
Verse 10. Mm-hmm. And the disciples came and said unto him, Why speakest thou?
Why speakest thou?
Unto them in parables.
You know, this is why Christ, when Christ came, yeah? He was the greatest prophet, isn't it?
Yes.
And all he had come is to prepare people for the kingdom.
Yes.
And that's why he was speaking even in parables. Now he's being asked, why do you speak in parables?
He answered and said unto them,
Yeah.
Because it is given unto you
Right.
to know the mysteries of the kingdom of heaven.
Yeah.
But to them
Yeah.
it is not given.
This is why he was speaking all the mysteries. The mysteries of the kingdom are with those who are going to be translated.
Yeah.
But those who are not, they will not believe it will be established. So we are here to believe, is the kingdom going to be established? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah? Go to verse 19.
Verse 19. When anyone heareth the word of the kingdom,
Right?
and understandeth it not,
Right. So meaning, we're expecting people who hear the word of the kingdom and won't understand. But the people of the kingdom will understand. Right?
when anyone heareth the word of the kingdom, and understandeth it not, then come the wicked one, and catcheth away that which was sown in his heart.
Right?
This is he which received seed by the wayside.
Right. So you understand now. So this seed, the gospel, the only gospel of the kingdom is the one that is put into different soils. Huh? Not any other gospel. We were told people will be preaching any other gospel, but it's only the gospel of the kingdom which needs a proper soil. Because if you put it where there are stony, it won't go in. If you put the gospel of kingdom in the road, the birds will pick it up. If you put it, it only needs a soil which is well prepared, which is fertile. Amen. So it depends who is going to understand the message of the kingdom. Is it the fertile? It's the fertile only. So if you are still in the wayside, or if you are still in the among thorns, you will actually, it will actually be an inconvenience to you. It will choke you because it goes against your idols. It will, if it goes where there is a stone beneath, there is soil, but beneath the soil there is stone. It won't sink because there is a stony heart below the soil. It won't go anyway. Only those with a soil which is fertile, prepared for this gospel, will understand the gospel of the kingdom. And that's what Christ was here for that particular soil. Yeah? They are the ones that are going to understand the mysteries of the kingdom. Yeah? Let's go to the mustard seed.
Verse
31. Yes?
Another parable. Put ye forth unto them, saying, the kingdom of heaven,
right,
is like to a grain of mustard seed,
right,
which a man took and sowed in his field.
Right.
which indeed is the least of all seeds. But when it is grown, it is the greatest among herbs,
Right.
and becometh a tree, so that the birds of the air come and lodge in the branches thereof.
You see this big tree? It started as a mustard seed, the least of the seed. So it starts with a few people, isn't it? But when the kingdom starts, it becomes a metropolitan. How does it grow? By people being gathered to the kingdom. This is how it grows. You understand? It starts with a few people and it grows while the people are going to. So now we want to study how these people are going to be collected to the kingdom. You get that one? So that's what Christ was preaching about the kingdom. Understand this study. Let's go to Zechariah chapter. Zechariah chapter 8. Zechariah chapter 8, verse 7 and 8. We want to hear. Zechariah is another prophet. We have been talking about Jeremiah. We have been talking about Christ himself. And we have been talking about Moses. Now let's hear from Zechariah chapter 8. Is the kingdom going to be there? That are the people are going to be gathered to the kingdom?
Verse 7.
Yeah.
Thus says the Lord of hosts, Behold, I'll save my people from the east country
Listen to that.
and from the west country.
Yeah.
And I'll bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem.
Right.
And they shall be my people, and I'll be their God, in
No.
truth and in righteousness.
Has this happened?
No.
When people are collected and stay at one place, Jerusalem. Has this happened before? Now, someone could say this has already happened in the past when they were coming from Babylon or whatever, but we want to establish when is that time, isn't it? We want to see which time is this, right? Yeah. It's not the one, it's not the time from Babylon, no? Where Zechariah was part of the people coming from Babylon, isn't it? So, we want to establish with the following verse whether this is the time where they were coming from Babylon, where they were being collected back to the kingdom. So, let's go to verse 13 of that chapter.
Verse 13. And it shall come to pass that as ye were a curse among the heathen, the
Right.
house of Judah and house of Israel, so will I save you, and ye shall be a blessing. Fear not, but let your hands be strong.
Where are they coming from? From the heathen. You understand? And let's go also to verse 22.
Verse 22.
We want to establish which time, because people will divert and say they are coming from Babylon.
Yeah.
But we want to see, is it from Babylon or from this time when we are preparing for the second Exodus? Verse 20.
Verse 20. Thus says the Lord of hosts, it shall yet come to pass that there shall come people, and the inhabitants of many cities, and the inhabitants of one city shall go to another.
Hang on.
Say,
Hang on. From Babylon, it was one city. It was one country.
yeah.
But here we are now sure it's not from one country.
Yeah.
It's saying from many cities. So it's not the Babylonian return for back to Canaan. No, it's not. Because they were only coming from one city. Neither can somebody say they came from Egypt that time and crossed the Red Sea and coming then. It's not that one because it was only from one country. But here they are coming from where? Many cities. Right, read it.
And the inhabitants of one city shall go to another. Say, let us go speedily to pray before the Lord.
Right?
And to seek the Lord of hosts. I will go also.
Right.
Yeah. Many people and strong nations
Right?
shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem.
Right.
And to pray before the Lord.
Now, is it from Babylon? No. Now, we read those verses to try to distinguish which time it is. It's not the Babylonian time. It's not the time they came from Egypt. It's the time they came from all over the world. You get that? Yes. Now, we want to establish more. And this incident, no nation has ever gone to seek the Lord in Jerusalem before. It's still future to us. You understand? So we now know it did not happen before. Because it has never happened before.
Yeah.
what happened before was from when they came from where? From one country. And also from Babylon, from one country. But from many cities, that has not happened before. Now, we now know it hasn't. It's still future to us. Are we confident there? Now let's go to verse 1. On that same chapter, Zechariah chapter 8, verse 1.
Verse 1. Again the word of the Lord of hosts came to me, saying, Thus saith the Lord of hosts, I was jealous for Zion.
Listen.
With great jealousy.
Listen. It starts with saying, I was jealous for Zion. Yeah? Who is jealous there?
It's God.
We will establish why he is jealous. In our time, why is he jealous? Right, read on.
I was jealous for Zion with great jealousy. And I was jealous for her with great fury. Thus says the Lord, I am returned unto
Right.
Zion.
He is actually promising, I'm back.
Yes.
I'm back.
Yeah.
We will see what time was he not
Yes.
there. But there is a time when he is
Back.
He is establishing it, isn't it? That's the purpose of the study. Yeah.
I am returned unto Zion, and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord, of hosts, the holy mountain.
So, there is a time he is saying, I'm back. And where is he staying?
In the
There.
midst of Jerusalem.
There is a time he didn't stay there. But when he came back now and said, this is my city. I'm back. Mind you, Jerusalem, there is Jerusalem in heaven, isn't it?
Yes.
We saw it is the name of the Holy Ghost. Yeah? And then he says, there is a city named by my name. Now, when you put a city, I've seen even on earth, people put a city with their names, or a road. You know, so and so, whether you are Amos, the road is called Amos Road, but Amos never even lives there. You understand? It can't be your road when you don't live there. With God, when he mentioned Jerusalem, he was living there. But there is a time he did not live there. But he is saying now, but the city continued to be called by his name. So he is coming and saying, I'm jealous for my name continues to be called.
Yes.
So now I'm back. I'll dwell there like I did before. You understand?
Yes.
But we want to establish when did he leave that city? And when now is he back? You understand? So that you and I understand. We all know when persecution occurred in the Dark Ages, where was the church which was being persecuted? In Jerusalem. And the wife was given eagle's wing to fly into the wilderness. From where? From there. So the wilderness was temporarily the place for the wife, isn't it? But after that, the wife should go away. Back. You can't stay in the wilderness continuously. So that when Paul was working, he was going back to the headquarters, isn't it?
Yes.
And where was his headquarters? In Jerusalem. Yeah?
Yes.
So that headquarters remained without God for some time, and now God is saying, I'm jealous. I've returned. I'm there.
Amen.
And from now, it shall be called the city of truth.
Amen.
Huh?
Yes.
It will be called the city of who? That's why in Isaiah chapter 26, go to Isaiah. We are enjoying all those verses. We have to enjoy. The Old Testament is there for us to enjoy. And then when we are in the New Testament, we understand exactly where our position. Yeah? Isaiah 26, where it says, open ye the gates.
Verse 2.
Uh-huh.
Open ye the gates,
Open ye the gates.
that the righteous nation which keepeth the truth may enter.
Why are they now being opened? Because now Jerusalem is the what? The city of truth.
It's called the
So God is there now. Then open the gates that they should come in.
Amen.
You understand? You enjoy the Old Testament. It's just marvelous. Yeah? Does it make sense? You want to hop into the heaven, all these prophecies. You don't even understand them. You just don't have nothing to do with them. You want to hop on. Really? when you are supposed to be sealed with all the truth in your forehead. You understand? And here, when then we have a record in the Bible where he chased all the 10 tribes of Israel. All of them. They are not there. And until now, there's no record of them going back. They are still out. You understand? The 10 tribes. Because we know there were 12 tribes. But 10 tribes are called Israel,
Yes.
or Ephraim, or Joseph.
Yes.
And then the 2 tribes are called Judah. They are the ones that are still there. Even when Christ came, they are the ones who were there. The 10 tribes were not there. They have not even gone back. They are scattered. Yeah, they are scattered. And God knows where they have gone. And they can be, now they are being called by Christian names. Huh? They are in these Christian churches. That's where they fused into.
Yes.
That's why when he's going to gather them, he keeps their genealogy. Can you go to the genealogy? Matthew or in Luke, their genealogy. He's the one who keeps the genealogy. Matthew 1 year. For the genealogy.
The book of the generation of
Listen
Jesus
how
Christ.
God knows the genealogy.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ.
Right?
The son of David.
Right?
The son of Abraham. Abraham beget Isaac.
Right?
Isaac beget Jacob.
Do you see God keeps the genealogy?
Jacob beget Judas and his
Right.
brethren. Judas beget Phares and
Right.
Zerah of Tamar.
And who?
Phares beget Ezrom, and Ezrom beget Aram.
And who?
And Aram beget Aminadab. And Aminadab beget
Do you see
Naasson.
God is keeping the genealogy? Let's
And
go.
Naasson beget Salmon.
Yeah.
And Salmon beget Booz and Rahab.
Right?
And Booz beget Obed of Ruth. And
Right.
Obed beget Jesse.
Right?
And Jesse beget David the king.
It's the genealogy from Christ, from Jacob to Christ. He's keeping it. And who?
And Jesse beget David the king.
Uh-huh.
And David the king beget Solomon of her that had been the wife of Uriah.
Right?
And
You see,
Solomon-
God keeps all that.
And Solomon beget Rehoboam. And Rehoboam beget Abia. And Abia beget Asa.
Right.
And Asa beget Josaphat.
Right.
And Josaphat beget Joram.
Right.
And Joram beget Ozias.
Right.
And Ozias beget Joatham.
Right.
And Joatham beget Achaz.
Right.
And Achaz beget Ezekias.
Yes.
And Ezekias beget Manasseh. And Manasseh beget Ammon. And Ammon beget Josias.
Right.
And Josias became Jeconias,
Right.
his brethren.
Right.
About the time they were carried away to Babylon.
Right.
And after they were
You see?
brought back to Babylon,
He's keeping the record. Yes.
and Jeconias beget Selathiel.
Right.
Selathiel beget Zerubbabel.
Right.
Zerubbabel. And Zerubbabel beget Abiud.
Right.
And Abiud beget Eliakim.
Right.
And Eliakim beget Asa.
You see
And
how
Asa
he's
beget
keeping the
Sadok.
record.
And
Right?
Sadok beget Akim. And
Right.
Akim beget Eliud.
Right.
And Eliud beget Eleazar.
Right.
And Eleazar beget Mathan. And Mathan beget Jacob.
You see?
And Jacob beget Joseph,
Right.
the husband of Mary,
Right.
of whom was born of Jesus, who is called Christ.
Right. You see? He is keeping the genealogy right up to the time he comes. From the time the person was created, Adam was created, to the end. He keeps that genealogy. So, does he know where these 10 tribes have gone? You and I know. You can go even to look, you see the genealogy, even the reverse back. He will tell you reverse back until Adam. He is keeping this genealogy. And he knows who went where. You understand? Yes. But all we know is we are in these Christian churches. And we see the sealing process start from the house of God. With the 12 tribes. They have been captured first there. 12 tribes from the house of God. Never mind whether you're in the house of God. If you are not part of this genealogy, you are just there. But if you are there, it only matters you are a Sabbath keeper as well as in the genealogy.
Amen.
It's got to be two. Not only Sabbath keeper, but also in the record. Because the genealogy is there. So do you see how people waste time in disfellowshipping and chasing people? If it is in the genealogy, you won't even stop. It's still in the genealogy. Which counts to God.
Amen.
It's not the register in the Bible, in the church.
No.
What counts is the genealogy.
Amen.
Because he's got it in his brain. He's got it in his infinite wisdom. He's got everyone there. He doesn't need that register there. But he's got it. He knows who is who. Yeah? Now, when they were scattered there. Let's see the verse which scatters them. When they were scattered, that's when he is not there. That's why he said, I was now jealous because I wasn't there. He left also with them. He left with them. And where is he? He's organizing them in the Gentile countries. Yes. He marched with them out. That's why he's saying, now I'm back. He has finished organizing them back in the kingdom. He is already there and I'm reigning there. And I'll tell you when. It's a good study when he is back there. From 1844, he's back there. Yeah, he's back. If he started the house of God and started the sealing process, he is waiting. He's there. He's back. So you go boldly, knowing he is there. If you want to know how I got that, it's another study. So the studies cannot override each other. But now, just for your hint, when he says he's back, we know for some time he was not there. But now he's saying he is back. And that coincides with him making a prophet start the Reformation and start a church which is going to receive the seal. Amen. So if it says it's not 1844 when he is back, then the sealing also didn't commence in 1844. But if it commenced, then he's back. He's back. He's back. But when did he discard them? Let's read from Ezekiel. When he scattered them, when did he scatter them? When he scattered, he didn't remain there. He said, let the Gentiles tread the holy city. So he went out. Now, in Ezekiel chapter 36, let's see him scattering them. It's because we do not know these histories. They are in the Old Testament. We are just ready to hop in the cloud. This cloud, you want to hop in it. When he says, open up the gates, that the righteous nation can enter. You just hop in without knowing anything. Now, let's go to Ezekiel chapter 36. Start from verse 17.
Verse 17.
Yeah?
Son of man.
Son of man.
When the house of Israel dwelt in their own land,
Yeah?
they defiled it by their own way and by their doings. Their way was before me as the uncleanness of a removed woman.
Right?
Wherefore, I poured my fury upon them
Right?
for the blood that they had shed upon the land, and for their idols wherewith they had polluted it. And I scattered them among the heathen.
Are we
And they were
proving they were
dispersed
scattered?
through the countries. According to their way and according to their doings, I judged them.
Not the 2 tribes, but the 10 tribes were scattered. Is the Bible saying it? Yes. That's the time he departed. When he said, I haven't been there, I'm jealous. Yeah? And what?
And when they entered into the heathen,
Right? Where did
Whither
they
they
go?
went.
They went to with heathen nations.
yes.
And when they entered, because why were they scattered? They did not walk in his statutes. They did not keep his statutes, his laws, his feasts. So even when they went into the heathens, they continue not keeping these feasts. That's what he said. They defiled also when they went into the deep. What are they busy doing in the heathens? Keeping paganist laws.
And when they entered into the heathen, whither they went, they profaned my holy name, which they said to them, these are the people of the Lord, and are gone forth out of his land. But I had pity for my holy name, which the house of Israel had profaned among the heathen, whither they went. Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, I do this not for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for mine holy name's sake.
What is he going to
which
do?
ye have profaned among
It's
the
Ezekiel
heathen.
now. It's not Jeremiah, mind you. We saw Moses. We saw Jesus Christ. We saw Jeremiah. Now it's Ezekiel. What is he saying? What is God about to do? Yeah?
Therefore say to the house of Israel, thus says the Lord God, I do not this for your sakes, O house of Israel, but for my holy name's sake,
Right.
which ye have profaned among the heathen whither ye went.
Right.
And I will sanctify my great name, which was profaned among the heathen, which ye have profaned in the midst of them, and the heathen shall know that I am the Lord, saith the Lord God, when I shall be sanctified in you before their eyes.
Now, he wants us to be sanctified before the eyes of the heathen. That's why you see people asking all these questions. When you say, I'm going to camp meeting, they say, what time? What date? Isn't it? And when we keep these pagan feasts, they say, why? The house of God keeping this? You understand? Why? It's because that's the reason why our forefathers were scattered. They were scattered because they did not walk in his statutes. Yeah? And
Verse 24.
verse 24.
For I will take you from among the heathen,
Listen to that.
and gather you out of
It's
all
Ezekiel.
countries.
He's talking about this gathering process. I will gather you out of this.
From among the heathen.
Yes.
And gather you out of all countries.
All
And will
countries.
bring you into your own land.
They are all saying the same thing. And what?
Then will I sprinkle clean water
This
upon you.
letter, when you are talking about it, where will it be done? In your own country. The country for your father. When the Bible says, you are the children, it's us. When it says your forefathers, it's them who were scattered. Huh? Uh-huh.
Then will I sprinkle clean water upon you.
Right?
And you shall be clean from all your filthiness and from all your idols when I cleanse you. A new heart also will I give you.
Right?
And a new spirit will I put within you.
Right?
And I will take away the stony heart out of your flesh, and I'll give you the heart of flesh.
Right?
And I will put my spirit within you.
Right?
And cause you to walk in my statutes.
Cause you to walk in these feasts that we are
And
rejecting.
ye shall keep my
And you
judgments
will
and do
keep
them.
these feasts and do them.
Amen.
These are the statutes that we are refusing. When the letter rain has been poured, it's only poured so that now we are confident keeping them without any disturbance. Huh? Now, have we proved that they were scattered? Yes. Have we proved when God said in Zechariah chapter 8 that I'm jealous? Yes. I'm now back. Yes. Do you see that they were scattered there? Yes. And now let's go back to Zechariah chapter 8 and see then when he says, I'm jealous. I'm
Verse
jealous.
4. Thus says the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men.
Now
and
we
old
have
women
proved in Ezekiel that when he wants to pour this letter in, he will first do the gathering process.
bring them back to their own land.
And then what? In that very chapter, Ezekiel chapter 36, I think below when he says, and the heathen, toward the end. Yeah.
And they shall say,
They shall
"This
say,
land
listen,
was desolate."
listen, even when the kingdom is established, there will be people not there who are outside, who are the heathens, isn't it?
Yeah.
What will they say? They will
And
say,
they shall say, this land
this
that
land,
was desolate
it was desolate.
is become like the Garden of Eden.
It's back to Eden. Now, when Adam and Eve sinned, they were supposed to be in this beautiful land, isn't it? And who disturbed that land? It's the devil.
Yes.
Now, do we go to heaven before this land is restored back? No. Otherwise, the devil will say, okay, they wouldn't do it here because I was there. But God has to do it in front of the devil.
Yes.
And even the heathen around will say that land was desolate. And now it's become the Garden of Eden. You understand? Uh-huh.
And they shall say, this land that was desolate is become like the Garden of Eden. And the western desolate ruined cities are become fenced and inhabited.
Do you see? This is
Then-
what they will say. If they say, the heathen will say that it means it's not yet the time of the end.
No.
You will do it before the end comes. That's why the heathen comment. It's now the Garden of Eden. Yeah? It's now fenced and beautiful again. Yeah? Uh-huh.
Then the heathen that are left round about
You see, there are still heathen left roundabout. when this is the kingdom has been established. Yeah? Uh-huh.
shall know
Shall
that
know.
I, the Lord,
Yeah?
build the ruined places
You see?
and plant that was desolate.
Right.
And I, the Lord, have spoken it and I will do it.
And God saying, because he knows there are people who doubt. Do you know if it is doubting? Our God does the impossibles. All the impossibles that you say, he can't, he has done it.
That's what he likes and doing.
Remember the impossibles, which were there?
Sarah was 99.
Huh? The flood. It was an impossibility.
Yes.
Yeah? What other impossibility?
Sarah conceived.
Conceived at 99 years. Sarah conceived. It is an impossibility. What else? What is the
Sarah
other?
parted the Red Sea.
He parted the Red Sea. That was an impossibility. Because they were it was impossible how they were going to escape Pharaoh's army. There was a mountain there, and the Red Sea there, and the army was coming behind them. It was an impossibility that God did. Parted the Red Sea, it was an impossibility. What other impossibility?
Rained manna.
Red manna. It's an impossibility. Manna, food was just coming in front of them. They eat. That was an impossibility. What other impossibility? The fall of Jericho. 7 days they marched around Jericho. Yeah? Right around Jericho. For how many? If they were supposed to be talking, they would have break the say we spoke until it went down. No, but God said, shut up. In 7 days, they are going around Jericho. And on the 7th day, what happened? They marched 7 times, isn't it? And after 7 times, what happened to Jericho? The walls fell down. And we are singing, now come tumbling down. We are singing about impossibilities. We are singing about impossibilities. And now when he says, I'm going to establish the kingdom, it's impossible to other people again. What is impossible today? What is impossible? When he said it was destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, it was an impossibility, but it occurred. When he said the rain is going to swallow this whole earth and all should go into the ark, it was an impossibility, and people preferred to die. And now he's saying he's got another ark now, which is being built in the kingdom. People should prepare for the kingdom. It's still an impossibility. You dwell on impossibilities. But now he says, I have said it. I will do it. In that verse, he says in verse 5, I have said it. I will do it. It's still an impossibility to people. We are hoping in the cloud. And we are dwelling on impossibilities of God.
Amen.
And God will do the impossibilities.
Yes.
That you say, it won't happen. The kingdom, I'm ready to go to heaven itself. The kingdom. Listen. We will not qualify to go to heaven without qualifying to go to the kingdom. Yes. So you better dwell with us on this impossibility. Verse 6. Oh, have you finished verse 4 and 5?
Of Zechariah.
Of Zechariah 8.
Okay. Thus says the Lord of hosts.
Yeah?
There shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem.
Who is going to... what is he saying? What is this man saying? What is Zechariah saying? There are yet. Because
Old men and old women.
Old men and old women.
Dwell in the streets of Jerusalem.
This Bible.
And every man with his staff in his hand.
And even those who come with staff in their hand. And those who are old. With the Zimmer frame. They will come in Jerusalem. They will yet dwell there.
Amen.
And what?
And the streets of the city
Yeah.
shall be full
of boys and girls.
playing in the streets.
Playing in the streets.
Amen.
Yeah. You understand? Let's understand. There's yet going to be that. That will, if they're playing, it means safe. It will be safe to play. Safe. Yeah? It is in the kingdom.
Amen.
Yeah? Yeah? Streets of gold. Yeah? And they come. What is that song? God shall wipe away all tears. There's no death, no pain, no fear. And they cannot turn by years, for there is no night there. Now, you are are telling me, some people will say it's after millennium. No. When it says even the heathen around will marvel and say it's now first. In the new heaven and the new earth, the heathen won't be there.
Yes.
Goodness. Eh? Kavati nginenyanga emzinoka nyayo iulu lilanga ubusuka uyesu linyembezi lokufa nezinsizi ayibalwa iminyaka ubusuka. Do you believe there is an establishment of the kingdom? When God said, pray for the kingdom, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come. Thy will be done where?
On earth
As it is in heaven. Pray for the kingdom. That's what Christ said. You pray for the kingdom. He said the mysteries of the kingdom are understood by the subjects of the kingdom. That's why he spoke in parable. All the parables, you check them, they are for the kingdom.
Amen.
Yeah? Verse 6.
Verse 6. Thus says the Lord of hosts, if it be marvelous in the eyes of the remnant of these people in these days, should it also be marvelous in mine eyes?
Right.
Say the Lord of hosts.
If it's marvelous in the remnant, who are the remnant? Who are the remnant? Is it marvelous to the remnant? The remnant, is this marvelous? You say remnant church, remnant. Is it marvelous, remnant? It's marvelous also to God.
Amen.
Verse 7.
Thus says the Lord of hosts, behold, I'll save my people from the east country.
Listen.
And from the west country.
That's why I'm saying it's not only from their return in Babylon.
No.
From Babylon or from Egypt when they crossed the Red Sea or whatever. It's not from that. Yeah? What is it from? From the east. Listen.
And from the west country.
From the west. All over. Yeah?
And I'll bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem.
Right?
And they shall be my people, and I'll be their God, in truth and in righteousness.
In truth and in righteousness. Let's see him bringing them. He says it's a city of truth.
Yes.
Now, I'll bring them. I'll bring them. You understand? I'll bring them. It's God himself saying that I will bring them.
Amen.
He scattered them, he will bring them.
Amen.
Let's see Isaiah 11. Start from verse 11.
Verse 11. And it shall come to pass.
We were talking about Moses.
Yes.
Moses said the same. Jesus Christ said the same. Zachariah said the same. Jeremiah said the same. Now we are on Isaiah. Let's hear Isaiah.
Isaiah 11, verse 11.
Right?
And it shall come to pass in that day,
Yeah.
that the Lord shall set his hand
Listen,
again,
in that day when he's bringing them, right?
shall set his hand again the second
Again,
time
the second time.
to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam.
You see, it's
and
not
from
one country.
Shinar, and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea.
Right?
And he shall set up an ensign for the nations,
Right?
and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth.
All these scattered ones, he will gather them together, the dispersed from four corners, which is north, south, east, west.
Amen.
The whole gathering of the west. When we sing and say, when he comes to make up his jewels, precious jewels, he's loved and is own, like a star of the morning, his bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for I like the next stanza. He will. You see? Kingdom. Hey, repeat that verse. He will what? He will what? Who? The gems for what? His kingdom. All the pure ones, all the bright ones, His love and His like the stars of the morning, His bright crown adorning, they shall shine in their beauty, bright gems for His. We sing this song how many times? You know what? God does not want you to be daft. Sing what you understand, isn't it? When He says He's gathering bright gems for who? For the kingdom. It's this kingdom, isn't it? He will gather. He will gather. When we are going to heaven, we are not gathered. We are already gathered and we just hop in the clouds.
Amen.
This gathering process is why He is setting up a sealing program. To seal the 144,000, which He will use to gather the people to the kingdom. Otherwise, there was no need of sealing. Why? Sealing is empowerment, receiving the latter rain, and we are empowered to go and do this special work of gathering the gems for the kingdom. Huh? It's Isaiah 11. Have we finished? Let's continue with Isaiah 11. Isaiah is talking about the same thing. Listen.
And He shall set up an sign for the nations.
Right?
And shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. The envy also of Ephraim shall depart,
Right?
and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah,
Right?
and Judah shall not vex Ephraim.
You see, there was a possibility of doing that.
Yes.
So they are not doing it. Why? Because now they are getting back to their land.
But they shall fly
They
upon
shall
the
fly.
shoulders of the Philistines
Do you see?
toward the west.
Right?
They shall spoil them of
Right.
the east together.
You see, people are being sent where? Everywhere, all over the world, to collect all these gems for the kingdom. Isn't it?
And they shall lay their hand upon Edom and Moab,
Right?
and the children of Ammon shall obey them.
Right.
And the Lord shall utterly destroy the tongue of the Egyptians, saying,
Right?
and with His mighty wind shall He shake His hand over the river,
Right.
and shall smite it in 7 streams, and make men go over dry shod.
People will go over dry shod. This is where I think it's in Jeremiah chapter 23. I think it's verse 7. Because people now are coming from 7 streams, isn't it? When they were coming out of Egypt, how many streams did they cross? It was Red Sea, and then next is River Jordan, isn't it? But here it's 7 streams, and they walked on dry land or dry shores. Now let's hear now their slogan, because when they were from one country, which was Egypt, they would say, in the name of God who brought us from Egypt.
Yes.
That's what they say. In the name of God who brought us from Egypt. But now, what is their slogan? Listen to verse 7.
Jeremiah 23, verse 7. Therefore, behold, the days come, saith the Lord.
The days now will come.
Saith the Lord.
Yeah.
That they shall no more say.
They shall
the
no
Lord
more
liveth,
say. Right.
which brought up the children of Israel out of the land of Egypt.
They will never say out of the land of Egypt. But what?
The Lord liveth,
Yeah.
which brought up and which led the seed of Israel
Right?
out of the north country.
Right.
And from all countries whither I had driven them.
Right.
And they shall dwell in their own land.
After that, they will never say, who's brought us from Egypt? But they will say, from the north country, from the east, from everyone coming into our own land.
Amen.
They will change the way they say. If you go there now, they will tell you that God is alive because he brought us up from Egypt. But the time will come when they say, God is alive. Who brought us from north country, from east country, from west, from what?
Amen.
That time will come.
Amen.
That is the time of the kingdom.
Amen.
Huh? Now, these are a collection of verses from all the prophets who wrote the Bible. If there was time for the whole day, we were going to finish the whole Bible until Revelation to show that the kingdom is sure going to be established.
Amen.
Now let's go back to Zechariah. That's our best verse. Now, verse 7 and 8, repeat it.
Thus says the Lord of hosts. Behold, I'll save my people from the east country and from the west country. And I'll bring them, and they shall dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And they shall be my people, and I'll be their God.
Right.
In truth and in righteousness.
Straightforward, isn't it?
Yes.
Has this happened?
No.
So how come then we want, someone will say it's after we come. No, it's before we go to heaven, isn't it?
Yes.
Verse 9.
Verse 9. Thus says the Lord of hosts, let your hands be strong.
Right?
Ye that hear in these days, these words by the mouth of the prophets, which were in the day that the foundation of the house of the Lord of hosts was laid,
Right?
that the temple might be built.
Right.
For before these days, there was no hire for man,
No.
nor any hire for beast,
No.
nor any hire for beast.
Right.
Neither was there any peace to him that went out or came in because of the affliction. For I set all men, every one against his neighbor.
Right?
But now I will not be unto the residue
Of these people.
of these people, as in the former days, saith the Lord of hosts.
Right?
For the seed shall be prosperous.
When we get into the kingdom, the seed shall be prosperous. And what?
The vine shall give her fruit,
Right?
and the ground shall give her increase,
Right?
and the heavens shall give their dew.
So they will be planting. They will be plowing.
Yes.
And the seed shall be prosperous. There is no more harvest which does not reach its fullness, isn't it?
And I'll cause the remnant of these people to possess all these things.
Right.
Amen.
And
And it shall come to pass that as you were a curse among the heathen, O house of Judah,
we
and
were
house of Israel,
right,
so I will save you,
right,
and ye shall be a blessing.
right,
Fear not,
Uh-huh.
but let your hands be strong.
right. Be strong. This thing is coming. Be strong, isn't it? Now, verse 13. What verse were you?
13.
14
now.
Right.
For thus saith the Lord of hosts, as I brought to punish you, when
Right.
your fathers provoked me to wrath.
What happened? Our fathers provoked him by not going in. We saw it in Ezekiel 36, isn't it? By not keeping the statutes. They provoked God, isn't it? That's your fathers, isn't it? We are children, right? And what?
For thus says the Lord of hosts, as I thought to punish you, when your fathers provoked me to wrath,
Right.
saith the Lord of hosts, and I repented not.
Right?
So again, if I thought in these days to
Right.
dwell unto Jerusalem
Right.
and to the house of Judah,
And
fear ye
then,
not.
fear not now, because now I will dwell there.
Amen.
Yeah? And wait for you to come and keep the feast 3 times a year and bless you.
Amen.
Verse 16.
These are the things that ye shall do.
These are the things that you should do.
Speak ye every man the
Right.
truth to his neighbor.
Right?
Execute the judgment of truth and peace in your gates.
Right.
And let none of you imagine evil in your hearts against his neighbor.
Right?
And love no false oath. For all these are things that I hate, saith the Lord.
Love no false oath. So all these statutes that were transgressed by our fathers, let's not go and adopt other statutes that are not God's. That's what he says in Ezekiel. Go to Ezekiel chapter 20, verse 11.
Verse 11. And I gave them my statutes
I gave them my statutes.
and shewed them my judgments,
Yes.
which if a man do,
Mm.
he shall live in them.
Right?
Moreover, I also gave them my Sabbaths to be a sign between me and them,
Right?
that they might know that I am the Lord that sanctified
But
them.
what happened?
But the house of Israel rebelled against me in the
They
wilderness.
did not keep. Our fathers provoked God, isn't it? Uh-huh.
They walked not in my statutes,
Right.
and they despised my judgments.
And what is
which
his
if
warning?
a man do,
Yeah.
he shall live in them.
Yeah.
And my Sabbath they greatly polluted. Then
These
I
are the
said,
statutes. These are the feasts that they did not keep. And they provoked God, isn't it? And what does he say in verse 19, verse 18?
Verse 18.
Uh-huh.
But I said to their children in the wilderness,
Who are the children now? It's us. Uh-huh.
walk ye not in the statutes of your fathers,
Right.
neither observe the judgments, their judgments, nor defile yourselves with their idols.
It's them who started worshipping the sun, isn't it? And worshipping Tammuz and everything. It's them who started. But God is saying, do not copy what they did. All these pagan, they started with Tammuz, the son of Semiramis, who were descendants of Nimrod. Now God is asking the children, walk not in their statutes. No, don't adopt their pagan systems. Because he is about to establish the what? The kingdom. He wants us to walk in his statutes.
Amen.
Amen.
Yeah?
Amen.
Go back to Zechariah chapter. Verse 17 we have done, isn't it? Verse 18.
Verse 18.
Mm-hmm.
And the word of the Lord of hosts came unto me, saying, Thus says the Lord of hosts, the first of the 4th month,
Right.
and the first of the 5th,
Right.
and the first of the 7th,
Uh-huh.
and the first of the 10th,
Right?
shall be to the house of Judah joy and gladness,
Mm-hmm.
and cheerful feasts. Therefore, love the truth and peace.
Right. So these are the feasts that he's saying, these are now going to be a joyful occasion
Amen.
for the children, isn't it? That's why he sends Elijah to preach the statutes and judgments in Malachi chapter 4, verse 4 to 5. And he says, I will send you Elijah to proclaim these statutes so that all these, they make the children happy and rejoin back to God. Now when you start to keep these feasts, you say now you are allowed to go 3 times a year and worship him. And someone will say, it's impossible. You know the song, Impossible? It's a possibility. Yeah? How dare you go 3 times a year? It's impossible. But I'm saying with God, it's possible.
Amen.
That's what we know. It's possible. Yeah. When you want to go and worship God 3 times a year, as he said, and keep the statutes that our fathers provoked him with. Yeah? Isn't it? He will make sure you've got the money
Yes.
to go. When you don't want to go, he will make sure you don't have the money.
Yeah.
So it becomes an impossibility to you because you are not going. It's a possibility to those who are going. It's a possibility. And when you come back from another feast, you are already working to go back to another. And when you go back, you are already going back. And it's a to and fro. Yeah? That's what he predicted in Daniel chapter 12. He says, many shall run to and fro away from keeping the feast. 3 times a what? It was predicted, isn't it? Right. Verse 22.
Verse 22. Yeah. Many people in strong nations
Yeah?
shall come to seek the Lord of hosts in Jerusalem,
Right.
and to pray before the Lord.
That's Zechariah. Uh-huh. And what?
Thus says the Lord of hosts,
Yeah.
in those days
In
it
those
shall
days.
come to pass
Right?
that 10 men shall
10 men.
take hold out of all languages of the nation,
Mm-hmm.
even shall take hold of the skirt of him that is a Jew, saying,
Mm.
we will go with you,
Mm-hmm.
for we have heard that God is with you.
Right.
Amen.
Now let's go to another chapter which is interesting, so that if we still want more evidence. Ezekiel chapter 34, verse 23.
Verse 23.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll set up one shepherd over them.
When now he establishes the kingdom, what does he do? He will set one shepherd. Ever since God reigned with the prophets, he only had one leader.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yes.
There is no several, multiple people ruling. No, it's one. Yeah?
Yes.
And when he needed shepherds, pastors, he had one. Who will only choose associates like what he did with Moses. He chose 70 elders to rule with him. But who was ruling that time? Moses. You understand? Now here he is saying in verse 23, he will set up also, when
One
people are
shepherd.
gathered. Why is he setting up? Because they are running away from their leaders. Their leaders, maybe they remained or whatever. There are people who are scattered all over. Now they are in front of God. So they want someone to lead, isn't it? Right.
And I will set up one shepherd over them,
Right?
and he shall feed them,
Right.
even my servant David.
Right.
He
Who
shall
is...
feed them
When we saw in Jeremiah, it says, he will raise
unto David.
the righteous branch unto...
David.
And we established that David is the one who was the same person called Elijah, who was giving statutes and judgment, preparing for the kingdom. Now he's in the kingdom, he comes, he rules with David. It's the person who has been inspired with the spirit which was in David. And why David? For David is the only leader between David and Saul, who was ordained by God. But who did the people ordain? Saul. So David is ordained among his people who are already ordained by people. There are people ordaining people, isn't it now? Yeah. Institutions ordaining people, and they say these are leaders, isn't it? But God is ordaining also someone. That's why he says David. Because the ordination of David was done by God alone. Even Samuel was not part of the influence. When Samuel went to Jesse's house, he also didn't know who was going to lead. It's not appealing to anybody's eyes that David didn't. Look, Jesse had sent him to head cattle, while 7 brothers who Jesse thought were qualified to lead, were on the list. And the list finished. The cup of anointment was still looking up. And Samuel said, I'm not going to eat. If there is another son who is not here, I'm not going to eat. He has to be fetched and come and be ordained. They called David. And while David coming, imagine, you think he was fully dressed?
No.
Coming
From herding cattle. You think he was fully dressed? Is somebody who you can look and say, nah, no. Yeah? You should see that this is how God works.
Yes.
And when David came, it never even was an impossibility.
No.
It was possible. And they were all shocked. The whole family was shocked. How dare? And I'm sure with Eliab, the firstborn Eliab, or the other brothers, they could have canned him one day, one canning. And now, do you think from that day they could can him? No. Canning someone who is anointed. It was an impossibility to them, isn't it? But that's where God was. To show that the God we worship does not do anything, does not get influenced by these looks.
No.
There, I tell you, there are looks that when you see them, you just stand up. You have nothing except stand and salute. But let me tell you one thing. God does not look at all that.
No.
God looks at the heart. Could be a woman, it could be a man, but he looks at the heart.
Amen.
He is the one who made the hearts.
Yes.
While people are looking at who, can he, or can she, can he what? And some disqualify, especially when it is a lady. They ultra don't even watch. Someone just said, I can't watch any of your videos. One, already the law of God has been broken. You are a woman. Let me tell you one thing. Those impossibilities are possible.
Yes.
Yeah. God will teach people to salute impossibilities. And it will happen in the kingdom. Now here, read again that
And I
Ezekiel.
will set up one shepherd over them,
One shepherd will rule,
and he shall feed them,
and that shepherd will feed.
even my servant David.
And that
He shall
servant is
feed
called
them,
David.
and
Yes.
he shall be their shepherd.
And that person who is going to be their shepherd, whether they like it or not.
And I, the Lord,
I, the
will
Lord.
be their God.
Yes.
And my servant David, a prince among them.
You
I,
see?
the Lord, have spoken it.
You see? And if it is God who has done it, whether you try this way or in that way, He will say, I have done it. Whether you bring all theories and all scatologies, I don't know, scatological, whatever, exegesis. All you can think of to disqualify. But God is saying, I'm the Lord who have done it, and I will do it. Yeah? That one shepherd will feed them. Go to early writings, page 47.2. Forty-seven. Nothing.
Nothing should be too dear to sacrifice for the salvation of the scattered and torn flock of Jesus.
Do you see these scattered? You said the 10 tribes were scattered, isn't it?
Yes.
And Sister White is saying nothing
Should be too
should
dear
be too dear to
to
sacrifice
sacrifice
for the salvation of the scattered and torn flock of Jesus. Mm-hmm.
Those who make a covenant with God by
Right.
sacrifice
Right?
will soon be gathered home to share a rich reward and possess the new kingdom forever and ever.
Is Sister White saying that? That we will possess the kingdom.
Yes.
And the condition is those who make a covenant with God by sacrifice now will soon be gathered home to share the rich reward and possess the new kingdom forever and ever. They will be gathered. It's the gathering process, isn't it? They will be gathered. And go to another. That KC we read, KC 124, first paragraph.
And now, said the Lord that formed thee from the womb to be his servant, to bring Jacob again to him.
Right?
Though Israel be not gathered, who is Israel? The church members of today.
It's Sister White paraphrasing in brackets. Who is that?
Who is Israel?
Right?
The church members of today.
Right?
Yet will I be glorious in the eyes of the Lord, and my God shall be my strength.
Right?
The message must go from east to
To
west,
west. Yeah?
and from west to east again.
Yeah?
A great shaking must come up.
Right?
The professed believers in the truth for this time are asleep.
They are
They
sleeping.
need to awake
Right?
and shine anew, because the light of truth has not only flashed upon them, but rightly done its work. God will have representatives in every place in all parts of the world.
Amen.
Amen.
This gathering is a dear work which God has done. Not for thy sake will I do this, but for his name's sake, he will gather all the subjects of the kingdom. Yeah? Go to or if you want Desire of Ages, 785. 785 to 786. It's a bit, just start where it says the sheep dedicated to God. The sheep.
The sheep dedicated to God represented the harvest.
Now, when you go to the harvest, right, in Leviticus chapter 23, you saw that on the Passover week, they brought a sheep to the priest on Sunday. Huh? And the sheep, and the priest waved that sheep. If you want to go to that verse, Leviticus 23. 23. Right. Leviticus 23. Ooh, I think verse 11. Uh-huh.
Speak unto the children of Israel and say unto them,
Uh-huh.
when ye be come into the land which I give unto you,
Right.
ye shall reap the harvest thereof.
Mm.
When ye shall bring a sheaf of the first fruits of your harvest unto the priest,
Right.
and ye shall wave the sheaf before the Lord,
Right.
to be accepted for you, on the morrow after the Sabbath shall the priest wave it.
So on that time, the sheaf, which was which plant, which grain was that? The barley. They picked the ripe ones and gave the priest. He waved it to show that the harvest is now about to come, isn't it? And it was done on the morrow after the Sabbath, which is Sunday. And that sheaf represented even the saints which arose with who? With Christ. And it. So those saints were represented by that sheaf, isn't it? Now let's go back to Dissolve Ages 785.4. The sheaf, yeah?
Dedicated to God,
Mm-hmm.
represented the harvest.
Right.
So, Christ, the first fruits,
Mm-hmm.
represented the great spiritual harvest to be gathered for the kingdom of God.
Right.
His resurrection is the type and pledge of the resurrection of all the righteous dead.
Mm-hmm.
For if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even so, them also which sleep in Jesus, God will bring with him.
Right. So we saw in Daniel, Daniel chapter 12, we saw when Michael stands shall come, isn't it? There shall be a time of troubles such as never was. And in that same period, there shall be a resurrection. You understand? Now, that resurrection is not going straight to the cloud. Now, let's go and see the resurrection in Ezekiel 37. Ezekiel chapter 37. Start from verse 1.
Verse 1.
Mm-hmm.
The hand of the Lord was upon me, and carried me out in the spirit of the Lord, and set me down in the midst of the valley which was full of bones, and caused me to pass by them round about. And behold, there were very many in the open valley, and lo, they were very dry.
Right?
And he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live?
Right?
And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. Again he said unto
You see,
me,
when they're dry bones, what are these? Grapes.
Yes.
Okay.
and he said unto me, Son of man, can these bones live? And I answered, O Lord God, thou knowest. And again he said unto me, Prophesy upon the bones, and say unto them, O ye dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. Thus saith the Lord God unto these bones, Behold, I'll cause breath to enter into you, and ye shall live. And I'll lay sinews upon you, and I'll bring up flesh upon you, and cover you with skin, and put breath in you, and ye shall live. And ye shall know that I am the Lord.
And who are those dry bones? Verse 12.
So verse 12.
Uh-huh.
Therefore prophesy and say unto them, Thus says the Lord God, Behold, all my people,
Oh,
I'll
verse
open
9.
your
Verse
graves,
9. Verse 9.
and say to the wind, Thus says the Lord God, Come from the four winds, O breath, and breathe upon the slain, that they may live. So I prophesied as he had commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood up upon their feet, an exceeding great army.
So there were an exceeding great army of people who have been resurrected, isn't it? Uh-huh.
Then he said unto me,
Right?
Son of man, these bones
These bones,
are the whole house of
they
Israel.
are the whole house of
They
Israel.
say, Our bones are dry.
They are
and
saying
our hope is
our
lost."
bones are dry. You know, those who were there when Christ came are the only ones who rejected Christ. But the 10 tribes were not there. But and also as other 10 tribes, other people, the 12 tribes which reigned from the beginning of when they walked out of Egypt, isn't it? And they were holy people, right? Moses was one of them, though Moses went to heaven, isn't it? But some of the holy people, they died. But they are not responsible for rejecting Christ. Huh?
Yes.
Did they reject Christ? No. They didn't. But they are still in the grave. But all those who were living, they rejected him. But then God is saying these ones, he won't forget them because they didn't do the crime. Isn't it? Now it says these whole graves are the what?
House of Israel.
Right? And what?
Then said he unto me,
Mm.
these bones are the whole house of Israel.
Right?
Behold, they say, our bones are dried,
Mm.
and our hope is lost.
Mm.
We are cut off for our parts.
Right?
Therefore prophesy and say unto them,
Mm.
thus says the Lord God,
Mm.
behold, all my people,
Mhm.
I will open your graves,
Right.
and cause you to come up out of your graves,
Listen careful.
and bring you into the land of Israel.
They are not waking up going to the cloud. They are waking up and going where the kingdom is in Israel. Do you understand? To be part of the subjects of the kingdom. That's what they have said, isn't it? Now let's go to go to Isaiah again, 60. Verse 11 and 14.
Therefore,
Mm.
thy gates shall be open continually.
Right?
They
You
shall
see,
not be
when
shut day
when
or
they are
night.
being gathered, the gates will continue to be what? Opened continually.
Therefore thy gates shall be open continually.
Right?
They shall not be shut day nor night.
Mm-hmm.
That men may bring unto thee the forces of the Gentiles,
You see,
and that their kings may be brought.
the kings and the forces of the Gentiles will be brought into thy the gates.
For the nation
Mm.
and the kingdom that will not serve thee shall perish.
Right?
Yeah, those nations shall be utterly wasted.
Do you see they will still be alive?
Yes.
Yeah? So it's still within a probational time. It hasn't closed, isn't it? And the gates will be left open for people to come into the kingdom.
The sons also of them that afflicted thee shall come bending unto thee.
Right?
And all they that despised thee shall bow themselves down
Right?
at the soles of thy feet.
Right.
And they shall call thee the city of the Lord,
Right?
the Zion of the Holy One of Israel.
Right. So this is going to be, this will actually happen. Let's go to another verse before we close. Micah is another prophet. Micah 4, verse 8.
Verse 8.
Mm-hmm.
And thou, O tower of the flock,
Mm-hmm.
the stronghold of the daughter of Zion,
Right?
unto thee shall it come,
Mm.
even the first dominion.
Right?
The kingdom
Shall come to the daughter of Jerusalem. Amen. Where is the kingdom going to be? Right. Right? Daniel chapter 2. If we go without mentioning Daniel chapter 2, verse 44.
Verse 44.
Uh-huh.
Verse 44.
Mm.
And in the days of these kings,
In the days of the 10 toes. You understand?
yes.
Which one is the 10 toes? It's our time, isn't
Present
it?
days.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And in the days of these kings
Right?
shall the God of heaven
Right.
set up a kingdom.
What will the God of heaven do?
Set
up a kingdom. Uh-huh.
which shall never be destroyed.
Right?
And the kingdom shall not be left to other people,
Mm.
but it shall break in pieces and consume all these kingdoms, and it shall stand forever.
It will stand forever. In the days, it's not after the days of the 10 toes, but it is in the days of the 10 toes. In good news. Uh-huh. Right? Mm-hmm. Daniel 2, verse 44 in good news.
Verse 44.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time of those rulers, the God of heaven will establish a kingdom that will never end.
Mm-hmm.
It will never be conquered, but will completely destroy all those empires and then last forever.
Right. Is the kingdom going to be established?
Yes.
Shall we boldly say, Our Father who art in heaven, thy kingdom
Come.
thy will be done? The last verse, I know people are now tired. Let's go to the last verse, Ezekiel chapter 37, verse 16.
And say unto them,
Mhm.
thus says the Lord God,
Mm-hmm.
behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen,
Right?
whither they be gone,
Right?
and will gather them on every side,
Right?
and bring them into their own land.
Right?
And I'll make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel.
Since they stayed, they were scattered. They were divided in the reign of Solomon. to 2 tribes on its own and 10 tribes of it. They've never dwelt there as 12 tribes. The only time they dwell there as 12 tribes is after the sealing process in Revelation 7. Then now when there are 12 tribes, they will live as a nation. Uh-huh.
And I'll make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel. And one king shall be king to them all. And there shall be no more 2 nations.
Right.
Neither shall they be divided into 2 kingdoms.
No more
anymore
2
at all.
kingdoms anymore. Uh-huh.
Neither shall they defile themselves anymore with their idols, nor with their detestable things, nor with any of their transgressions.
Right.
But I will save them out of their dwelling places, wherein they have sinned, and I'll cleanse them. So they shall be my people, and I'll be their God. Amen. And David, my servant, shall be king over them.
Right.
And they all shall have one shepherd. They shall also walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them.
And
they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant,
right.
wherein your fathers have dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children, and
Right.
their children's children forever.
Right.
And my servant David shall be their prince forever.
Amen. Did you hear that? Them and their children and their children's children. Do you see they're still bearing of children and children's children? So there's still a long way before the hopping in the cloud. We have to prepare for the kingdom. And because it's going to have many years. And then after that, we have the 7 last plagues. And then after the 7 last plagues, we hope in the cloud. So let's prepare for this one. It's the imminent one, isn't it? May God bless the study.
Amen.
Shall we pray?